Siyathemba nizolijabulela lolu hlelo.
Siyabulisa abafundi baka grade 12. Today njengoba nazi senza i-topic yethu ebaluleke kakhulu kuthiwa i-balance sheet. Balance sheet ke isimple kakhulu. I-balance sheet isukela lapha ke bafundi. Khona question esizoyenza kodwa manje ngicela ukuthi ngikunikeze i-background ye-balance sheet. Ukuthi isuke laphi i-balance sheet. I-balance sheet is all about these 5 letters. Right. Sorry. So it's all about these 5 letters. A is for the assets. Okay, let me just get another one. A is for the assets. So we call it alloy. This is for the assets. This is assets. Right. This is our liabilities. You know this one. Right. Owner's equity. Owner's equity, as well as expenses. Expenses, and then income. Right? As we know that on the income statement, we dealt with this matching. It's a matching principle. These are nominals. Nominal account section. This is for income statement. Income statement. And then here it's a balance sheet. This is a balance sheet. Okay, balance sheet. It's a balance sheet, right? So we're using a system called 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. So here we have 1, right? So 1, 3, 2, 5, 4. This is a system that we are using. System njengoba wazi ke ukuthi nabantu abadlala ibhola basebenzisa 4-4-2 3-5-1, you see a system. So we are using this system for the balance sheet. So if for a balance sheet we are using A, no O, no L. So which means A, that's the equation. A is equal to O plus OL. Which means according to our system, 1 is equal to 2 plus 3. So A mkhulu in the way that A ngendlela kamkhulu ngakhona O and L, they have to come together so that they can be equal to A. It's like mhlambe wenza example mhlambe yamalokishi amabili amancane uma wahlanganisile omabili mhlambe akhiphele ilokishi elikhulu elilodwa. Yabo mhlambe uthi umlazi nomashu uma ukuhlanganisile is equal to iSoweto noma mhlambe umdansane eIslandani yabo, because they are the biggest. Or mhlambe iThembisa mhlambe neSoshanguve ukuhlanganisile ko2 is equal to Soweto collectively. So it's the same thing. So A is equal to O plus L. So this is the equation that we have to solve. Let's solve the equation. Sesadlula lesikhathi lesokwenza ibalance sheet unezwa ama figures yabo. So now into oyiprovayo, you are proving this equation. We are proving this equation. Kodwa ke kunama notes. Okay, for instance, set number 1. Remember here on the income statement, remember last time we said we have note number 1, note number 2. Right? We said note number 1 is for what? Remember these are notes. We said interest, income, note number 1. All the interest of the assets, so remember when I was teaching you. And then here interest, expense. Sorry, interest, expense. Right? All the interest of the liabilities. Okay, but we are not in the income statement. And then again, now we are done with note number 1 and 2. So this is a major note number 3, we balance sheet. So under OA, we've got note number 3, note number 4, note number 5, note number 6. You see? So all these notes are under OA. And then since like O which have note number 7, note number 8, right? And therefore note number 9 for the liabilities. So our 9 number notes in total. These are the notes of the balance sheet, right? So note number 3. Note number 3 is equal to, this is a fixed or tangible asset. Fixed or tangible assets. Right, this is note number 3. Note number 4, this is inventory. Inventory is just two things. Okay, it's just two things as we inventory, right? Trading stock as well as consumable stores on hand, stationery on hand, anything on hand, you must add it, because on hand, which means left or this, unsold. So that makes inventory. And then bese bakhona note number 5. Note number 5 uyini yena uyi trade and other receivable. Trade and other receivables. Okay, ngizoyenza in more details. And then note number 6. Note number 6, cash and cash equivalent. You know cash and cash. Cash and cash equivalent. This is note number 6. And then note number 7, ordinary share capital. Ordinary share capital. Note number 8, retained income. Note number 9, trade and other payables. Trade and other payables. Okay, let me just go quickly on the notes so that we can start our question. Okay, so that is basically balance sheet mfundi. I said balance sheet is all about ALO, or A is equal to O plus L. So which means according to our system, we are saying A, which means A is equal to O plus L, right? A is equal to O plus L, and therefore these are the notes. Okay, let me just write these notes quickly. What makes these notes? Okay. Notes of the balance sheet before we go into the balance sheet. Okay, notes of the balance sheet. 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 Right. Notes of the balance sheet. Let's put this one aside so we see we say. Set note number 3. So these are fixed or tangible assets. Some assets that you can see and touch. Fixed or tangible assets. Fixed or tangible assets, right? Normally, you have, let's say, land and buildings. Okay, you normally have something of this nature. Maybe ube equipment. And then vehicle. Perhaps even total. Right. So yeah, so this is a format of note number 3, and then we are saying carrying book value at the beginning of the year. Carrying book value at beginning of the year. So we are saying cost price. Let's accumulated depreciation. You know this. Okay, so I'm going to write a total on top. So for land and building, let's say we record the figure. Land and building does not depreciate at the high school level. What I showed last week for income statement, it appreciates. But if you go further beyond high school, you find that land and building it does. So this the same figure here I'm going to record there. And then let's assume that we have the cost price amount there for equipment, less accumulated depreciation, put it in brackets. So this one minus this, you get the figure there on top. And then also here the cost price, you see you are taking from the balance sheet account section there, or the pre-adjustment trial balance, minus beginning your corner, you get this. And then these are the just totals. You must add everything, add up everything, either horizontal or vertical. You must add it as well here, and also add here. Right here the sign go, the number go with the sign. And then now we are coming to the movements. The movements, what happened during the year. So these are the movements. Right, the movements here. So we're saying addition or purchased. Additional cost. The addition is the same as the purchased. So purchase means to buy, purchased or addition. And then we have disposal. We have depreciation. Right, addition, let's say maybe we bought a plot or a site. Let's say maybe there was no addition, land and building does not depreciate. And then when we come to equipment, let's say we bought an equipment and there was a disposal. A disposal occurs whereby if we are selling the fixed asset, so which means in this case we are selling equipment, so the figure must be in brackets. And then your calculated depreciation, either straight line or diminish, must be also in brackets. And then same thing on the vehicle. Let's say there was both, right? So the figure of the disposal as well as depreciation must be in brackets. And then you totalize like this, and also totalize. Don't forget to put the brackets on both figures. And then now we are dealing with what now? With the end, right? Carrying book value at the end of the year. Carrying book value at the end of year. End of year is equal to cost price and accumulated depreciation. Right? So the cost price, okay, now let's say now we're not given the end, we have to prove it. Okay, it's fine. You do the 2 lines, right? 2 lines. So now we are adding this plus this one. So carrying book value, esivule ngayo, right? Carrying book value esivule ngayo plus, it cost, not carrying book value. So this cost, sorry, not this one. This one. The cost esivule ngayo plus the cost during the year, it gives us a cost at the end. So the figure will come here. Right, so and then land and building does not depreciate, so they will always nil there. So that's how we get. And then here the cost and the cost must add these two, so it's equal to total cost. Right, now is this one okay, let me just use black. Right, accumulated depreciation at the beginning plus disposal plus depreciation must give us total accumulated depreciation. So we are saying cost price now. Cost price less accumulated depreciation is equal to carrying book value at the beginning, at the end of the year for all equipment. You do the same also for vehicle. Cost plus the cost during the year will give us a cost at the end. Right, and then accumulated depreciation plus disposal plus depreciation will give us accumulated depreciation at the end. So we are saying cost price less accumulated depreciation, and then you add now cross, totalize everything. So we are done. This is note number 3. That's how note number 3 of the balance sheet look like, right? Let me just go back quickly. Carrying book value at the beginning, the movements, addition, disposal, depreciation, as well as carrying book value at the end. And then it says here, note number. Remember, we are here. This is the balance sheet. We are still on the balance sheet, right? So we're done with note number 3 of the balance sheet. Therefore, we're going to the note number 4, the inventory of the balance sheet. How does it look like? It look like this. So inventory, right? Inventory. So we have trading stock, record the figure of the trading stock, and then any expense on hand. It can be consumable stores on hand, consumable stores on hand, which means it was, this is, it means it was left a shegil on hand. It can be stationery on hand, it can be packing material on hand, any on hand. You must add it here and you get your figure. So we're done with note number 3. With note number 4. So this is 4, and the one that we're doing was note number 3. The inventory is note number 4. And then say note number 5. Note number 5 is trade and other receivable, right? Note number 5. Funeka ukwazi ke ama note, right? Awu 9 mangabe sewonke. Trade and other receivable. Trade and other receivable. So trade debtors. Right, trade debtors, and then provision for bad debts. Then you get the net trade. And then from here you attach accrued income. Okay, accrued income as well as prepaid expense, very important, right? As well as a prepaid expense. I'll explain this. Prepaid expense, right? Here on the debtors, you go to the debtors control, you write the figure, you take it from the balance sheet account section there on top. You minus bad debts coming from the adjustment. So minus bad debts coming from the adjustment, not the one that you already given there, coming from adjustment, right? Therefore you'll be having an actual debtors, right? So the figure here that we're going to record will be the actual debtors. And then we have provision. Provision is the one coming from the adjustment. Provision. So unless is the one coming from the adjustment, right? That is the provision. So must less this, you get now the net trade, right? And then you attach accrued income. Accrued income is it's a money that you are waiting to receive. Let's say maybe you are a landlord, and then by good now is towards month end, so there's a money that you get, so it become an asset, right? Or maybe the money that we paid before, let's say maybe rent is already being paid. Let's say you already paid the school fees, for the whole year. You can even go to the school and say, can you just give me school fees for 2 months? Or maybe you already paid for next year going to tertiary. You can even still go and negotiate. Then bakubuyisele imali yakho. So you add here. You also add here. Sometimes you can have SARS, SARS debit. If now, remember, USARS, it's a liability. Kodwa USARS unowenza ukuthi lakho uyakweleta uthi mhlambe overtaxiwe mhlambe umuzwa athi umuntu usawuclaima kwaSARS because khona into eyenzekile ngekho right noma uSARS uyamkweleta this time around. So uba i-asset in that way. Or ukhokhe kwaze kweqa mhlambe let's say you were owing uSARS 23,000 but the provisional payment was 29,000. So which means uSARS is owing you 6,000 from the balance sheet, right? Lapha uSARS income tax provisional payment. Let's say you paid 23,000. Let's say you paid 29,000. But lapha ku taxation on the adjustment where tax is 23,000. So which means the difference between the two. So if there's any SARS, it becomes an asset in this case. But normally SARS it's a liability. So that is basically note number 5. I'm trying to give you a background before we go and do the question. And then remember we said there are 9 notes. So we go to note number 6 now. Note number 6 is cash and cash equivalent. It's here, we're still on A, you can see, right? This is note number 3, 4 inventory, 5 trade and other receivables, and then 6. Why is trade and other receivables? Because so we are expecting to receive from people who are owing us. So that's why we call it trade and other receivables. And then we go to note number 6. Note number 6, simple cash and cash equivalent. Cash and cash equivalent. Cash and cash equivalent, right? So in a bank, only if a bank is favorable. Normal, it's just written. But I mean, once they are saying CR or unfavorable, it's a liability. It's an overdraft. Petty cash, as well as cash float. Sometimes it might happen, let's say we have a fixed deposit less than 12 months or any form of investment. Let's say we have fixed deposit. Fixed deposit less than 12 months. Right. Record the figure there. Record the figure here. Record the figure. Right. That is cash and cash equivalent. Cash and cash equivalent. Sometimes they can give you, not like this, they can give you a type of the bank account. Maybe that savings account. Let's say we have savings. Savings still a bank account. Or current account. Or smart, let me say smart account. Smart account. Any type of account. Right? Or check account. So it's still bank. Okay. And then we are done with UA for the assets. Now we're going to note number 7, note number 8. Right? Let me just write note number 7 here. What is note number 7? Ordinary share capital. So ordinary share capital. Remember, we're dealing with companies here. So and we're dealing with the public companies. So we're selling share. We're selling shares to the public. Through e-prospectors, right? The public must be invited to buy shares through prospectors. So we have ordinary share capital. Ordinary share capital. This is note number 7. Now under OO, you see OO about 2 for according to our system. You can see here, right? We've got to 7 and 8 retained income. So we have authorized shares, authorized shares. So basically, yini authorized shares. Authorized shares are shares are available in that final, in that particular year. Let's say to shares azoba available lo nyaka, let's say 100,000. ukuthi thina siwasebenzisa kanjani it's up to us, kodwa we cannot exceed lo 100,000, yabona, unless ke mhlawumbe makhona abo buyback ke. But nje those are the shares that are in a kit, right, are available asebhegini. So maybe let's say we are given a number here yama shares. Sometimes they will say, okay, and then our main focus will be on the issued, with how are we going to issue. Issued at the beginning, during the year, buyback, then the end. Let's say at the beginning of the year, okay, ordinary share. Let's say at the beginning of the year we issued ordinary share capital, right? Ordinary share capital at the beginning of the year. At the beginning of year. Okay, write the figure there at the beginning of the year. During the year, ordinary share issued. This is issued, not capital. Ordinary share issued during the year. During the year. Remember, during the year, also there's a figure that we take it to the cash flow. Lapha cash flow financing, the proceeds of issue of shares. The shares that we issued during the year, it's also the proceeds of issue of shares. If let's say the question there was the same like a cash flow. And then let's say there was a buyback. Every time when we buy back the shares, we must put the figure in brackets. Either note number 7, note number 8, or cash flow. So we have buyback of shares. Buyback of shares. Right, let's say maybe Nagama shares is watching. Remember, for note number 7, we are using the average. We are using the average. Remember, we are using, let me say, at average. We are using average. Right? And then uthole now end, figure now at the end. So we have ordinary share issued at the end of the year. End of year. Right. This is note number 7 quickly. And then we are still on the balance sheet, right? Note number 8 of the balance sheet. Note number 8 is retained income. Retained income. We call it retained income or accumulated profit. It's a profit that we accumulated, right? So balance at the beginning. Balance at the beginning of the year. Record the figure there. Okay. And then buyback of shares. Buyback of shares. The figure must be in brackets also for the buyback. And then net profit after tax. Net profit after tax. Sometimes you can have it before and the tax rate, you must calculate after tax. Net profit after tax, you add it. And then you attach now dividends. Remember, we are buying shares here, we must get the dividends. So there's dividends, interim, as well as final. Right? What is the interim? Interim dividends, the one that we paid after 6 months of operation, and then the final dividend, the one that we paid at the end. So you add these ones, then collectively we must take it here. Then we are adding 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember there are 2 figures in brackets here. Then we are saying now balance at the end. Balance at the end of year. Balance at the end of year. And then there's the last note, note number 9. Right? Then we can start here now our question. Note number 9, it's a trade. Now note number 9. Number 1. Note number 9, trade and other payables. Note number 9 wenziwa izinto eziwu-12 ke mfundi. Kufanele ukwazi lokho. Note number 9 ziwu-12 izinto ezenziwa note number 9. They must be in your medulla oblongata. Kufanele zibe sekhanda uzazi. Because uzodependa ukuthi equation mhlawumbe equation at top 12 mhlawumbe ina 5 noma ina 6. So the best way kufanele uyazi yonke le nto le, and it's very simple. So we have trade and other payables. Why is traded and other payables? Remember la besithenge ngesikweletu la. Sithenge ngesikweletu kuma suppliers, kuma suppliers wethu. So ufune sibakhokhele, yikho is trade and other payables. Lapha ku note number 5 u trade and other receivables. Ama debtors lawa sibadasele ngesikweletu, so we have to receive from them. So kungakudidi ke lokho. So we have trade creditors control, sorry. Creditors control. So you take the figure of the creditors control, you record it here. Then you tell in creditors salaries. Creditors salaries or kube yini net salary. Creditor salary is the same as net salary. Net salary. Remember, sometimes you can be given a gross nama contributions and the deductions, and therefore must get a net salary. Or you can be given a gross. The gross income iya ku income statement. In net salary iya ku balance sheet Ithala. Then you can go to the balance sheet isihlangene ifigure yakho, right? So you bone question esizoyenza inawo lento le engishoyo. And then bese kuba we said there are 12 things here. Let me just put the numbers. 12 items. 1, 2. So we're going to number 3 now. Number 3, it's 3 medical aid. Medical aid, right? 4 pension fund. 5 UIF. What does the UIF stand for? Unemployment Insurance Fund. Unemployment Insurance Fund. So you record these figures. Record these figures. And then 6. 6, we have SARS. SARS pay as you earn. Record there, right? And then 7, we have income received in advance. Income received in advance. Abanye bathi ke deferred income. Okay, can be. Let me just write also the alternative name. Deferred. Double R. Deferred income, right? And then 8, you have number 8, you have accrued expense. Accrued expense. This is number 8, right? And then after 8, so we have 9, right? After 8, usune number, okay, that is number 9 now. We have current portion of loan. Current portion of loan or short-term loan. Or short-term loan. Record the figure. Then ube number 10, right? 10, you have shareholders for dividends. Shareholders for dividends. We take the end here. Remember, we have interim and the final. And then 11, we have bank overdraft. Bank overdraft. Overdraft. It's also a liability. And then 12, the last one. The last one, we have SARS income tax. If SARS uyi liability. SARS income tax. So usuqedile ke mfundi, you can do your balance sheet now. You see, you need to understand these things in the balance sheet. Njengoba ngishilo, khona those days where balance sheet uneza ama figures uwenza ngathi wenza i-puzzle. No, here we're just solving the equation like we normally do in mathematics when we are saying left hand side is equal to right hand side. That's what exactly we're doing now. Accounting, I mean, balance sheet has become maths now. We have to solve. So as soon as the information left, you can use that information to balance on your right hand side or vice versa, right? So let's shoot straight again now to the format here to your balance sheet. I think also so now the idea you understand what senzani. Then let's go to the ngithe angisho konile laphana sithe si follower nansi i-system othiwa u-alloy, but in our focus it's here on the balance, I mean on ALO. So we start with UA, right? You start with UA, right? You start with A. UA like stands for the assets, right? You start with the bigger A, then the smaller A, right? And then yonke into oyenza uqala ngokukhulu uze ngokuncane, right? Ngokukhulu la kamabhobisi angisho wabona amabhobisi uma ngabe on TV ku 50-50 or any program. Utho ukuthi qale kudle kuba khona qala bese kudla uma wakhona bese kudla amawundlu. Nalapha ke we using that system. Kufanele qale lamadala, start with the bigger assets, then size ngamancane siphinde futhi nama liabilities siqale ngamakhulu kuze amancane, right? This is the balance sheet again now. A balance sheet, remember, is one of the financial statement. We mentioned it before. We said balance sheet is one of the financial statements. Income statement is one of the financial statement. Ratios is one of the financial statement. Cash flow is a financial statement, as well as audit report. Kwenziwa kanye ngonyaka. So balance sheet for the year ended. Whatever that we do here, we are doing for the year ended. Unyaka ke in accounting ungaphela nje ngomhla ka 28th of February or the last day of February, if let's say like last day it was a leap year 29th. So which means the date of commencement date uqale nini ngo the first day of the following month, the previous day. That would be the 1st of March 2020 or 2019 if our last year, I mean our year end is 2020. If it's this year, so it can be any as long as yenza a revolution ka 12 months. As long as sends out 12 months, year end can be any. For instance, I mean, some of the businesses like SABC, year end double, I mean, it's the last day of February. Every time SABC, I mean, on the 1st of March or 1st of April, right? So, bakhona ama programs amasha, bakhona abasakazi abasha, kushintsha ama slots because year end, which means year plan for the entire year. Then phinde futhi kushintshe futhi abanye abasakazi bahambe nama presenters amanye ayojoin amanye ama radio stations and so on. Yes, so that is basically into esiyenzayo ke nathi la, right? So this is the balance sheet. Right, let's go on the format first before we take the question. We said ngicela ubuke la ngizokwenza nje ngihambisana nalento kade bengilenza. Siqala ngo1 system yethu, right? Siqala ngo1 size ngo2 size ngo3. We always start with a list number. So 1 it's what? It's asset. You can see 1 there. So this is assets. Right? Start with what? With the bigger assets. What are the bigger assets? Non-current assets. What are the non-current assets? Assets that are not easily to convert into cash. Imaphi lawo asset lawo? Ilawa alapha note number 3. Land and building. To sell a property is not easy. Equipment, motor vehicle and furniture. So we have note number 3. What is note number 3? Tangible assets. Fixed, or we call it fixed or tangible asset. Fixed or tangible asset. Fixed or tangible asset. So you record the figure here. And then you add the one that are financially. So financial asset. Financial assets. Financial assets are asset lawo ongabo kwazi ukuwabona. You can't touch, like out a fixed deposit in the investment. Let's say we have fixed deposit. Fixed deposit. Right? We have add loku. Ubeka laphana. That's your figure there on top. Total yako of the bigger assets. Now use a copy on the current assets. Current means short. Currently, like short for the short. So these are the assets that are easy to convert into cash. That is what? Note number 4, note number 5, note number 6. Wonke la one. Right. What is note number 4? Remember, stay in inventory. Right. So that is namani. Note number 5, trade and other receivables. Note number 6, cash and cash equivalent. So, sine inventory now. Inventory. Record the figure of the inventory there. Sibe nani? Sibe ne trade and other receivables. Then we have cash and cash. Cash and cash. Cash and cash equivalent. Cash and cash equivalent. So you record. Also record it here. So you combine all these figures, they give you the current assets. Now, so you are at the bigger assets and the smaller asset. So that is non-current asset plus current asset is equal to what? Total assets. So now we are getting what? Total assets. We are getting A according to our system. This is total assets. Total assets. You write here a total. Total assets. Right? You are saying A. You see now A is A is equal to O plus L. So A1 is equal to O and L collectively. Right? So we put this one aside. Now we are going to where are we going now? We do this collectively. You see, equity and liability. So that's your heading. And therefore you start with what? With the list number. That is number 2. Right? So equity and liability. Equity. Okay, equity is heading. Equity and liabilities. Equity and liabilities. Right? So shareholders equity. Shareholders equity. Shareholders equity. Right? And then you start with note number 7, note number 8. What is note number 7? Ordinary share capital. Let's get a ordinary share capital. Note number 8, retained income. Retained income. Right. So we are adding now these two. Note number 7 plus note number 8 is equal to what? Shareholders equity. The combination of these two, note number 7, note number 8, is equal to shareholders. So dealing with O. According to our system, 7 and 8, this is O. So now we are going to OL now. We'll be starting with the bigger L, then see the smaller L. Right. So we are going to the non-current liability. Non-current liability. Non-current liability. Non-current liability. So when a loan, right? A loan. It says in a loan lapan. loan minus if ikhona ini current portion of loan, current. Remember, the current portion of loan is no longer paying non-current. Anything less than 12 months is no longer paying non-current, like we said on the fixed deposit. Non-current of loan if you can. So to get the actual loan, right? So so beka phezulu lapha. Into ebalekile ke indlela yokubhala ibalekile okuthiwa i-execution. Indlela yokupresenta ngayo uconvince imark umuntu ozokumakela. And then mfundi, after this one sesiyakubani manje, current liability, current liabilities, right? Current liabilities. Note number what now? Note number 9. Sithe note number 9 wenziwa izinto ezingaki ezu12. Nakho la funeke uzazi mfundi, right? But kule 12 le khona okuyi part of the note, khona okufuneka kube on the face value of the balance sheet, khona okufuneka nje oku4. So which means yonke le from number 1 until number 8 must be part of note number 9. Funeka uadd ufake lapha kube note ushude mhlambe kanje. Mhlambe let's say you go and do the note and then you add everything. Ulethi figure la isihlangene. If asikho space se note uzobhala la uthi trade. Okay. Uzobhala la uthi trade and other payables. You open the brackets, you put everything that you're supposed to add, right? If you note, you go and disclose, you come back with the total. So you record the figure here, right? And then left for the current portion of loan, shares, for dividends, bank overdraft, na SARS, income tax, if liability, it must appear on the face value. Current portion of loan, current. Okay, let me use another marker here so to let me use this one. Black. Current portion of loan. Angisho si manasile lapha phezulu kuyi loan yethu. Angisho yabona the same figure uyimanasile la uzoyi-add. So then usoyibhala la. Uphinde kuze ini i-shareholders for dividends. Shareholders for dividends. Remember here we're taking for the one at the end, right? And then ube ne bank overdraft. Bank overdraft. Bank overdraft indeed it's a liability. Yenzeka kanjani mhlawumbe kuthiwa uCR ibank yakho noma babeke on the credit side noma mhlawumbe utshele kuthiwa ibank it's unfavorable. Ibank ifanele ihlale favorable ukuze be i-asset. If it's unfavorable, therefore i-liability. Bank overdraft, right? And then kube SARS income tax, SARS income tax. Okay, now usuqedile ke mfundi, usu-add everything here. Yabona, ube total lapha phezulu. Ifigure yakho la ezansi, i-answer yakho usuya-add ke manje, usu-add u-O wakho ehlangene, note number 7 and 8 nakho. Yabo. Take that totally there. We take lesibili. You also even take this one now. So awu 3 amafigures ozowa-add la. Uthola manje ini i-equity, total equity and liability. Total equity and liabilities. Total equity and liabilities. So ifigure yakho usuyibhala la. Ifigure yakho ke kufuneka ibalance, kufuneka ifane ifigure yakho mfundi. Yes, kufuneka ifane ke nala iphilena kade siyenza nansi. Yabo. Le figure le this total equity and liability, the one that you get here must be the same as this one here of the assets. That's why uthola ukuthi sithi u-A is equal to O plus U-L. or according to our system, which means U1 is equal to 2 plus U3. So the figure le engala must be the same as the combination of these figures here. So which means which means the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. Therefore, you are done with your balance sheet. I-balance sheet ke question emnandi kakhulu uma kuthiwa iphumile. Kodwa enye into ofuna kuyenze mfundi ongayikhohle, right? Sometimes uthiwa yenza note, but most of the time if we look at the trend of the question papers, with how do they they ask ama question. Mhlambe bangafuna only 2 notes ukuthi uwenze. So if kuthiwa yenza note, if it goes uyibhala uzoqhama only with a total le oyithole from the note. If akushowa ukuthi yenza note, you just open the brackets. Maybe let's say here on the inventory. You see, just open the brackets here on the inventory. You open the brackets. You are just keep on adding. You add whatever ofuna we add. Mhlambe let's say ubuwenza cash and cash equivalent. There is bank petty cash. So uzokwenza la. Right, uzofu add imali ye bank, I petty cash ne cash float ulethe la. Kodwa if ukhona kuthiwa yenza note, you go there and disclose. Yabona, ufike wenza note uqede ulethe ifigure la isiyisamba isihlangene. Yabo. Yes. So it's very important ke kuthiwa ngolimi la auditing ke uyadalvage, you must divulge the information. Nala same thing note number 5. Note number 5 nangu la note number 5 mfundi. Nangu note number 5. Angisho yayibona izinto lapha ukuthi singanani ezenze lapha stay trade and other trade data. So going to take imali ama data control minus ama bad debts coming from the adjustment. Ungabisashi ukuthi equal to, keep on minusing or add ofuna ukadd. Attach uzo add accrued income, prepaid if ikhona, SARS income tax if in this case was an asset. So indlela yokubhala ke le ebalekile ofuna uyenza. So we keep on adding everything umanaso ofuna ukuminus kodwa with an understanding yalama notes lawo akade besoyenza. Ngicabanga ukuthi ke sizokwenza equation ke ngawuthi ke sesiyenzile into ofuna siyenze so athi singazi ukubamba istaff vele uthi awusa understand kwenzakalani. Sizokwenza ke equation ke ye balance sheet ke abafundi. Ngicabanga ukuthi asime for now. Then the following lesson will be our balance sheet question. Now we have to do the question now. Uzobona, and I tried to ngithole a question more challenging than any other questions because it tried to answer even the smaller questions. So akade ubungabuza. Siyabonga ke kakhulu bafundi baka grade 12. Thank you.
Ningakhohlwa ukuthi nisengathokozela ezinye izifundo eziyisithupha kanye nezengeziwe i-learner wellness, i-career guidance kanye ne-advanced program. Hlanganyela nathi kwizifundo ezi-online ku-068 151 1072 noma ku-GoDigi@godigitalsa.today. Siyabonga.